Alright, so this is going to be the assembly of the Wattson charger. What you're going to need is a length of some flexible filament, TPU. You just want to make sure it's long enough that it'll wrap this and you'll be able to tie knots on the ends of this. I'll show you that. You've got the face plate, the two accent rings, which they print face down like this. Here's your granola tray. I made a flat bottom so it didn't require any supports. And then these are the angled mounts. The first thing you're going to want to do is install these, and they should just snap into place. And if you would like to tack some super glue into them, you can do that. But these, the reason I did those accent rings is because these print flat like this, so they get a kind of a gnarly edge on this, and it doesn't look the prettiest. But if you print these face down, and you can print them in whatever color you'd like for an accent on your truck. I like this is Overture's yellow Pet G. It's pretty close to Compass Yellow. And then these are all keyed the same, so they should just fit in no matter which way you put them. Get those assembled. I'll glue everything together later, but this is just a quick and dirty assembly video. The granola tray just snaps into the back of here. And again, you can super glue it into place. It shouldn't, I mean, this isn't, this won't stay in unless you super glue it. So I would recommend just throwing a bead of super glue, you know, around the bottom edge here. If you do it on the back side here, it won't be visible, and you won't worry about any white flashing that sometimes you get from super glue. Before we go on to assemble the rest of it, I'm going to show you how to put in this. This is the friction fit that I designed for it. So there's a hole on each side of the end of this channel. You're going to want to feed through the TPU and tie a little knot. For this first one, I like to tie it close to the end so I have as much length left over as I can. It doesn't have to be a crazy special knot, just enough that it'll bite when you pull it back through like that, and it's not gonna untie itself. So then you're gonna route this along this channel all the way around, and on the other side you're just gonna feed it through the other hole. Once you get it through, push a little bit more, pull it. I like to pull this a little bit tight so that way it stays into this channel, and then when I let go of the knot that I tie, it'll pull itself tight. So wrap it around, pull that knot as tight as you can towards the end, like that, and then just trim off any of the excess that you've got. And those should be out of the way. If you really are worried about them being on the way, go ahead and trim all the ends down like that. So now this is just enough of a compression that when you slide it, when you pop it into place, it has to push down into the center console. And we'll go over the install here in a moment. Like I said, this you can just snap into place, but I would glue it. And then for these, they're keyed as well. They have 3 divots matched up. These parts require support material, and then this little lip is for the wireless charging cord to bend down. I could have designed it without this and made it a little bit just bulkier and thicker, but I didn't mind the look of it. So each of these just snaps into place. Line up the keyed marks and snap it all in. So on the back side, I would put some super glue here, just a couple of spots, just to keep this from coming up. When you go to remove your phone, this will have a MagSafe puck in there, and I'll show you the install on that in the next part. If you don't glue any of these in, when you go to pull it, sometimes it can take the whole cup out. But there is the install assembly, I guess, of the Wattson wireless charger. And all these parts are just popping around because they're not glued into place. But once we do that, we're going to go and install it in the truck. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to install these Anchor MagSafe pucks. The best way to do this is, I've already got one in, just so you can kind of see how they sit, but I like to come in from the top here, pull all your cord through, and then I lay it face down on a surface, and I like to just push this to get it down in. And then from this side, it should set flush, and if it is a little bit tall, which mine is currently, you can just kind of finagle it with your fingers here a little bit until it sets as flush as you would like it. It's a tight fit, and it's meant to be a friction fit to keep this from coming out. But once they're in, it'll look just like this. And then we're gonna wrap these cords up on around the center console. You can tie them up, but I find that they kind of tend to get in the way. But we'll go do the install in the truck next. Here we've got the original placement for the original wireless charger. Mine's filthy on the inside, clearly needs cleaned. But what we're going to be doing is installing this is the Soonish step down charger. It's got 2 USB-C ports and then 2 USB-A ports as well. I'm going to make another version and see if you're using these USB-C, if the USB-A ports also have power. If they do, I'll make another version with some ports available to plug other accessories in. And what we're going to do is just take this and plug it into the original plug from the truck. That allows us to get full power to our wireless charging pucks. We're going to take the cables from the pucks here, and we're just going to plug them in to the USB-C ports. Now, I like to have try to keep the Soonish towards the front because the granola tray hangs down and you don't want to be smashing any of that. But as far as the cables go, I try to coil them up as best as I can here and try to keep them as neat as possible. It's a bit of a task, I'm not gonna lie, because there's a lot of cord here and it's all just trying to be in the way. That's all it's good for, really. But you can just kind of shove it down inside of there, and you just want to make sure that none of it is sticking up over this lip when you go to push this piece in. And it should be a pretty tight fit. So once you've got it lined up and you know that you don't have any cables in the way, give it a good push. It fits down inside and it's in there good. I mean, I can pull on it pretty hard. You just want to make sure that when you put your phone on there, that if you go to pick it up, it doesn't take the charger with it. My last design did that, and I decided to fix that. So now you've got access to this. It's at a good angle. You can see the full screen. I understand that, you know, people are going to say, oh, you don't need to see your screen while you're driving. But if you've got Waze up at all, down here at the bottom is where it asks if there's anything on the side of the road still, or, you know, if the police are still in that area. And I want to be able to hit yes or no down here, and that solves this problem.